Facebook Live. 1 second here. Okay. I'm just going to have to record it. All right, go ahead, Lawrence. We're good.
Okay. I'm on. Good morning, everybody. May 7, 2021, Friday. Thanks for being on the call, everybody. As usual, Dan Burke and I like to share some opinions and thoughts on Fridays. The most important one, of course, is the slaughterhouse of failure is not my destiny. I will persist until I succeed. Og Mandino. I think everybody should tattoo that. So today we've got, it's actually a two-part series, but today we're going to talk about, what's your excuse? And that's how I've kind of understood this. Dan picked out a theme today, which I absolutely loved. And so we're going to chat about that today. And Dan will start with that and then we'll continue. Go ahead, Dan.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lawrence. As always, a pleasure to be here with you on Friday mornings. Does anybody know who this is? Who this animal is? Who this horse is?
The one on top?
This is for those of you who don't know. Yep, exactly. So for those of you who don't know, this is Medina Spirit, the 2021. Hold on a second here. Let me.
Hello. Please enter your 6-digit conference code.
This is Medina Spirit, the 2021
Welcome to Free
Kentucky Derby winner.
We will now connect you to your call.
So, yeah.
Hold on 1 second here.
Yeah, when I was living in Maryland, it was a breeze to get on the Beltway. But then right before
Mute everybody.
There we go. Yeah, for some reason I can't do that. Anyway, this is Kentucky Derby winner Medina Spirit. What's interesting about this, if you didn't watch the Kentucky Derby, I'm not a huge horse racing fan, but I do tend to watch the three big ones. But Medina Spirit in a race or in an industry where these horses can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, this horse was purchased 3 years ago for $1,000, which is very impressive that they win one of the biggest horse races in the country, in probably the world. So the thing about Medina Spirit was he was so unimpressive that not only did he only command $1,000, but he only received one bid at auction. Even his trainer, Bob Baffert, said that this long shot had no effing chance to win and was expecting another horse to win. I believe he had 4 horses in the race. None of that seemed to matter to this horse. He didn't care that he was smaller than the rest. He didn't care that his trainer didn't think he could win. He didn't care that the odds makers assumed he would lose. When the bell rang and the gates opened, he immediately took the lead and never looked back. He spent the entire race focused on the track in front of him rather than what was behind him. So this meager looking horse, purchased for a meager amount of money, made $1.85 million that day. So don't worry about your competition. Just focus on the track ahead of you and show the world what you can do. So I wanted to share that with you guys today because we have the ability to create our own destiny or create our own life. And, all of us on here have decided that we want to do this because we're entrepreneurs. And so, we wanted to talk, Lawrence and I wanted to talk a little bit about that today because we think it's important to talk about what entrepreneurship is and how that helps you design your life and, not having excuses and not having, the problem with humans is we have the ability to think and we have the ability to create our own excuses, right? We're able to have that mental constipation that's going to keep us from achieving our goals or focus or having confidence in ourselves, right? And taking that uncomfortable action. So this is just a great reminder that, when you don't think about those extraneous things, when you don't let that affect your mindset, anything is possible.
Yeah, so, when you just said, Dan, that the horse didn't care that he was smaller than the rest, we shouldn't worry that we're older or younger or not as experienced or we have a different profession or anything like that. Those are all obstacles that we put in our own mind. We start to overthink things. And we say, well, I don't know anything about this business. I'm too old. I'm too young. When you think about too young, think about Scott Bennett. He started when he was, 19 or something. Didn't complete his college education. And he was very, very young, inexperienced. And yet you get somebody who's, on the other side of the track there on the horizon. I mean, the runway's running out. I started at 60. And I didn't care. Scott Bennett didn't care. He was 19 and I'm 60 when I started. I didn't care. So we shouldn't worry about anything other than what the goal is, what we want to achieve. So, we've got to have that unswerving belief and conviction in ourselves, in our cases, because we can think the horse just did what he did, but we can actually think, and that's one of our problems. We overanalyze things, we overcomplicate things. We don't just do it. The horse just supposed to run, and that's what he did.
Right, he did that with the direction. This horse didn't just come out of nowhere and hop on the track and win the race, right? He was groomed to win the race. He was groomed. He had his own personal experiences. Your experiences are your net worth. Your network and your experiences are your net worth. And so he was trained to become a horse that could win that race, right? Through diet and nutrition and training correctly, having rest days where he could kind of recharge his batteries and recover from track workouts and things like that. And we're no different. We need to constantly be exercising these muscles for this business, right? And have this muscle memory where we're able to do this business on a regular basis, be consistent. And when you're consistent and you're focused, you're going to create that muscle memory that's going to allow us to be successful in this business. And so, being successful in this business isn't just about showing up every day, but it's about taking the right action. Medina Spirit didn't win without taking the right actions. He was being groomed by the trainer to take the right actions, right? Mm-hmm. By exercising properly and taking those rest days. And we need to do the same thing. We need to consider what we need to do to get things done to be successful in this business and train those muscles or that muscle memory on a daily basis, and the presentations get easier. The science, understanding the science and being able to portray that to other people, what we have, what we know, that all becomes a little bit more easy to convey to other people. So, taking uncomfortable action is a big part of this as well. Every day we need to get up and set our goals and decide what we want to do for that day. A lot of times that's going to be taking uncomfortable action. I had a call with Lawrence and I talked yesterday, and he had been out and for the first time in a while, he had been out making some calls, right? And even that can be uncomfortable. Even though he's done it in the past, he hadn't done it for a while. And, he just called me. He was super excited talking about, what a great day he had, or a great couple of days he had going out and calling on physicians locally. And so it's about being consistent, but, once you have that muscle memory, it's kind of like riding a bike, right? Once you get your presentation down and your communication style and you understand what we have completely, it becomes a lot easier to convey that to others.
So totally agree. When you also said that the horse didn't care that the odds makers assumed he would lose. Well, we got to think, so what if 85% of all businesses fail in the first 5 years? It's got nothing to do with me. I don't care. It's not me. Our business is me. Our business is you. So, we got to start kind of like looking at this. And the other thing is, when we look at Medina Spirit, we look and see the horse races and so on, and Dan just said quite rightly, he was, groomed and he had a jockey, but often the jockeys are also a huge component of this, because the jockey can he can be overmanage the horse sometimes. because I used to have a racehorse, and the jockey would, the jockey would say, well, I'm going to hold him in at the beginning so he doesn't get tired, and then I'll give him the stick at the last, 70 yards or something like that. So the jockey is trying to drive the horse, but in this case, the horse just took off from the beginning. Medina Spirit just took off right from the beginning, and the jockey didn't overthink it. They didn't think he would win anyway, so just let him go. And so this is how we are. We've got to think about this in our business as well. When we've got the people that we're dealing with. I don't want to say that we've got horses, but we are like a jockey on a horse, and we've got to understand the horse we're on. And each person we talk to is a different horse. It's a different mentality. It's a different background. It's a different something. So we've got to also understand how to jockey the horse on which we are. So we've got to understand the person we're talking to. We've got to understand who that person is, what makes him click, what makes him tick, what inspires him, what doesn't. Because sometimes if we don't understand that, it just doesn't work.
I 100% agree with you. Having that constant reminder of what we have is very important. And so, how many times do you have to go to the gym to stay in shape? All the time, right? You have to go there every single day if you want to stay in shape, or 4 times a week. And when you go once and you get sore, you have to push through that and go the next day. Otherwise, you're just going to take 3, 4, 5 days, maybe a couple of weeks off because you're sore. But once you start working out daily and you start going to the gym and you get sore, and you might be sore for the first couple of weeks, but then after that, it starts to feel good, right? Because you're creating that muscle memory, and you're creating that habit and that commitment to what you're doing, that focus and that consistency. And so Jane put, something in here that I wanted to talk about today anyways, but she said in the chat, we're the director of our own movies, time to create our reality. And that's exactly the truth. We have the ability to design our life or design our destiny, right? When you work for a company, you don't have that ability. Your life is being designed for you. So 25 years in medical device sales, my life, every minute of my day, even when I wasn't working, was still designed by my job. I was on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And I'm not complaining about that because it was a great career for a long time. But my life was designed by others. My life was designed by the doctors that needed something, physicians that needed something. My life was designed by the operating room schedule, by the patient schedule, by accidents, because I sold trauma equipment. So it was like every facet of my day was designed for me, right? And that's one of the reasons I got out of it, because I didn't have a life. I had no control over my life. I couldn't drive to events with my significant other. We had to drive separate all the time, because if I had got a call, I had to leave. If we go to a movie or a birthday party or something, we had to drive separate. Probably 50% of the time I ended up leaving. And so I had to get out of that. It was just very detrimental to me, physically, emotionally, all of those different things. And so we're all here because we want to design our own life and we want to design our own destiny. And the only way you're going to do that is by making the decision to do that, right? And by taking the right action, taking uncomfortable action. If you've got a full-time job, you've got to commit to working this business a certain amount of hours a week, right? And that's going to be uncomfortable for a while, but you have to keep the main goal in sight, which is to design your own destiny. Not a lot of people have the courage to do that. Everybody wants a 9-to-5 job that has benefits. Yeah, that's important, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is to be able to control your life and live your life the way that you want to live it. And when you work for a company, when you work for a big corporation, you're not able to do that. The control is always in somebody else's hands.
So you've hit a couple of points that are very, very relevant as always. In the case of Medina Spirit, there are people like that. Some of us are like that, where we start off and we just go, and the best thing is just to get out of the person's way. I've got people like that. I mean, Dan, you one of them. Mike's one of them. Andy Feltz is one of them. Andy started at the gate, boy, and he just took off like a rocket. Just get out of my way. And this reminds me of Nathan Ricks. If you haven't met Nathan Ricks, go to the YouTube channel, and you'll find a lot of extremely valuable tapes from Nathan Ricks. And Nathan Ricks was, when he started, he told his wife, he said, look, I don't want to be disturbed. I don't want to be talked to anybody. I don't want any distractions for 6 months. Put the food under the door and just let me do my thing. And Nathan Ricks was one of those Blue Diamonds without knowing it. Never mind Blue Diamond. He became one of the biggest earners in the company over the years. But that's because he was a type of Medina Spirit who just do the thing and get out of the way and let me do my thing. So without any distractions, this was the whole point. He was very successful in real estate, but he decided to embark on this, and he took it as his full-time job for 6 months because he knew he was going to do it. And we take our this business, as we mentioned last week, it's got to be a part-time job if we're going to do it, not a sometime job. You can do this full-time, part-time, but not sometime. And if you do it part-time, you're just as dedicated in that time and disciplined and focused in that time that you're doing it as if you were full-time. And that's the way you can reach success. So it's a question of being totally focused on what we're doing while we're doing it without any distractions whatsoever on anything else. Difficult to do, but it's possible.
When you get rid of those distractions and you get focused and you're more confident, I was looking around my office the other day and I've got so many distractions in here. I'm going to spend the rest of the day today, after a few calls after this call, reorganizing my office because there's too many distractions. I've got a bass guitar in here. I've got 2 ukuleles, another guitar. I've got a harmonica on my desk that I pick up and play occasionally. I've got all these distractions in here and I got to get rid of them because it's just too easy to grab one of these things and just, for 15 minutes, get off focus. I mean, sometimes it's good to take a little bit of a break, but I've got too many distractions in here. And so, when you stay focused, when you stay consistent, you are building your foundation for success, right? When you spend 2 hours a day or 4 hours a day focused on this business or whatever else is you have that are goals for yourself, just remaining focused on those are helping you build your foundation for success, right? And that's important. We talk about it all the time. And like Lauren said, not everybody needs a jockey. There's people that get up every morning and they go out and they lead the pack, right? Other people need a leader to help them decide what they're going to do that day or show them what you're doing that day so that they can replicate that, right? So we don't all need somebody riding us, hitting us with a riding crop to keep going. A lot of us on here are probably on here because we're not those type of people. We get up and we do what we need to do, regardless of having somebody tell us what to do, right? And I take pride in that. I take pride in the fact that I can get up every morning, that I plan my day the day before, and I know exactly what I need to do that next day to be successful or build on that foundation for success, right? And so, there's one of the other things that I wanted to talk about today along the line of excuses is, everybody out there is out to destroy or to rob you of your confidence, right? They would question why you're doing this, question why you're doing other things. You have all these people that aren't as motivated as we are because we're entrepreneurs who are always questioning what we're doing. It's like, why would you take advice from somebody who's been divorced 4 times about your personal relationship? But they're usually the first people that want to give you some advice about your relationship and how you should be, same thing with people that are have not been successful in business. They're the first people to tell you that they failed 10 times, and they're going to try and tell you how to run your own business or how to be successful. And that's great if they've figured out how to be successful, but if they haven't figured out how to be successful, why would we want to listen to them? They're just trying to rob us of our confidence, rob us of our focus, rob us of our consistency. And we need to look past those things and get rid of those things from our lives. Not completely, but you need to focus on those things that rob your confidence, right? The forces that rob your confidence. Look at those things that you have in your life that are robbing you of that confidence and that focus and that consistency. So you want to audit those things, right? That make you feel less competent or less confident. And then do less of them. It's pretty simple. You don't have to, don't overcomplicate it. Just think about the things that are robbing you of your focus, of your confidence, and just get rid of them. Why do them? There's no reason to have them in your life if that's what they're doing in your life.
Unswerving belief in yourself. That is something that I've learned that a long, long time ago. Unswerving belief in myself, because I can control what I do. Sometimes I choose not to, but it's up to us to be able to drive our own vehicle, which is us. So you're completely right. Just have the distraction part and all that. This is where we start falling off the cliff, when we start allowing ourselves, we choose to allow ourselves to get distracted. And that's where we've got to rein in. And just for time, I just want to say this also, Dan, that, when we're looking at Medina Spirit again, everybody was prejudging the horse. Even the trainer was prejudging. Nobody believed in the horse. So we also tend to prejudge people. When we meet somebody, we say, "Oh, this guy's going to knock it out of the park. Oh my gosh, this guy is absolutely going to be another wow." It turns out that the guy is absolutely, he or she is meh, nothing of any consequence. Whereas you meet someone and say, "Well, I don't know if this person's even going to show up." And they do. And then they show up again and again and again. And then suddenly, it doesn't exist in this case, where they've been consistently looking and seeing and following and being on calls and following the system. Suddenly, oh my gosh, guy's got to be a ruby. And suddenly they go forward. And then suddenly they become very successful. This suddenly syndrome, as I called it, even in health, I always talk about the suddenly syndrome in health. It's the compound effect of doing something. So it's doing something on a regular basis. So what I'm trying to say is that when we prejudge somebody and we don't think he or she's going to do something, but they're consistent about it, it's the compound effect. They can and probably will achieve their goals, good goals. So it's something to think about, because we do prejudge. And here was the horse that was prejudged and nobody even gave it, and he had a 12-1, I think it was 12-1 chance of winning. So don't prejudge.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're the smallest horse. It doesn't matter if you're the biggest horse, the strongest horse. It's the horse that has the most focus and the drive to be successful, to create its own destiny, to design its own destiny, right? Those are all huge things. It doesn't matter. I've done this 1,000 times, what Lawrence is talking about. Lawrence and I have done it 1,000 times. We've gotten off of phone calls with people and we're virtually high-fiving each other. "Oh, this guy's going to be a rock star." And then you never hear from him again. It's just, it's people want that 9-to-5 job. And, a lot of times, the biggest hurdle in this business is convincing them or finding those people that want to be an entrepreneur and want to design their own destiny, right? And that's not going to happen every day, unfortunately. It may not even happen every week. because those people are few and far between, right? But we can't prejudge them. And I say this all the time. I go through LinkedIn and I might skip a couple of people when I'm trying to connecting with people just because I'm like, they might not be a great prospect. And then I say, what if they are? So I go back and I connect with them because you never know. You never know. I don't want to prejudge somebody. I look at their qualifications and I see if I think they'll be a good fit for this business. And, a lot of times I'll say, I don't think, what, they might not be the person that we want, but you can't prejudge these folks, right? You never know when you're going to hit a Medina Spirit. You just never know, and if you hit one Medina Spirit once a month for the year, then you've got a really, really substantial business to build on, right?
That's a really good target. And let's put that in as a goal. One Medina Spirit a month. Look, one Medina Spirit a month. That's the goal.
I love it.
Now, to get to one Medina Spirit a month, how many Cartagena Joes do we find? Medina Spirit. That's what we're looking for. One Medina Spirit a month. That's the goal for everybody. And I did a thing some time ago with a pack of cards, and there are 52 cards in a pack. That's like 52 weeks, and there are only 4 aces in there. And if you go through and you do that, how many cards do you have to go through? How many weeks do you have to go through each card to come to an ace? 4 aces is a ruby. So one Medina a month. There's the target right now for everybody.
One thing I wanted to say to build on that is, as business people, as entrepreneurs, we need to investigate where the world's going. Where is the next big opportunity? And I think we're right in the middle of it. I think we're, with health and wellness and where this has been going over the last 5 years with the COVID, and that's going to accelerate all of these things. I think there's more interest in what we're doing now than there's ever been. And so that, that's a huge part of being an entrepreneur, is figuring out where the world's going. What's going to be, how can we leverage where the world's going to create a successful business and get other people to join us? It's, knowledge is the new currency, and knowing where this is going and being able to convey that to others and communicate that to them in an effective manner is what this is all about. And when you get that down through focus and consistency, by doing this business every day for a period of time, or however many hours you decide you can devote to it a week, but being consistent and being focused is what's going to get you to that one Medina Spirit a month, right? Just going through that deck of cards, finding those aces. That's what this business is about. We're not going to find aces every day, but if you're consistent, you're going to find 1 or 2 a week. And it's just nurturing those folks, showing them what we have, dripping out the information to them, getting them to one of our healthcare symposiums. I think this healthcare symposium we're going to have in July is going to be the biggest one that we've ever had. And that says something. That says something about where this business is going, that we're in the right business at the right time for the right reasons, helping people, helping patients, helping physicians, helping ourselves, helping others grow, just spreading abundance to everyone, and making sure that we're helping everyone in the process.
Dan, what you said at the beginning, where we're going, where the world is going, I kind of look and periodically, not very fixed, but periodically I look at where the stock market is. And I've always said, for our business, science, technology, innovation, passport to the future. And if you look at where the stocks are and where the market goes, they're either got innovation, they got science, they got technology, and we have that. And we're already past the first base on that. So we're at the moment of the tsunami really beginning. So let's do that.
I don't know if anybody saw my post on Healthcare Alliance this week, but I posted about Apple's iWatch. So the biggest company in the world with the largest cap with the iWatch is now, it already incorporates biophotonics, but it's incorporating biophotonics in the next watch that's coming out probably next year. They're going to be able to, with biophotonics, measure cholesterol level, blood glucose, and blood alcohol level with the iWatch using biophotonics. Right, we're in a business that has biophotonics. The largest company in the world is getting into biophotonics. So I think as that happens, more people are going to understand this technology. It's going to be easier for them to understand this technology, and it's going to grow even further. Right, we're ahead of the game. We've been using biophotonics for 18 years.
Agreed. Thanks, Dan. I'm just looking and I'm seeing we're a little over time. If anybody's got any comments, I would just like to say, don't forget Mother's Day this week. And we're still in Nurses Week or Nurses Month. So think about the nurses, think about Mother's Day. And if anybody's got any comments you'd like to make or any observations, or please just unmute.
Hey, Lawrence.
Yes, sir.
So this is a great call today, and I like the way you kind of revolved everything around Medina. But one thing I kept thinking of as you guys were speaking is, well, where is Medina? Who's Medina? Where's Medina? A lot of Medina is in us, and it's how we train that individual. It's how we envision their future. It's how we lead them. And so we can't just say, well, I'm going to go find my Medina. We have to kind of become Medina. And we need to realize by becoming Medina, we help bring out the Medina in some people who may look like they're under a rock, but there's a Medina in there.
Lead by example. Good job. That I totally agree, Jim. That's a very good observation. Be the Medina you want to find in others.
So thank you for a great call.
Yeah, great comments. I just had one last comment that I wanted to make. I made the comment about some of us, need a jockey riding us, telling us what to do every day, and maybe hitting us with that riding crop. And that's okay. People like Lawrence, they actually need that. They want somebody tapping them a little bit with a riding crop.
My wife does that all the time. So
oh, geez. Any other comments? Kent? Is Kent still on the call? Kent's a horse lover. Just wanted to see what his thoughts were on this.
Martin, looked like you're going to say something.
It was just a thought I was having, an intrusive thought. I was just thinking that when we first bring people into the business, we have to understand that they don't realize the enormous potential and the extraordinary excellence that we have right here at our fingertips. And so I think in many cases, I see people and I see a vision for them that is so much greater than they necessarily see for themselves. And I think we have to hold that vision for them and promote that vision for them and paint the picture of them in that vision and do that for them. I think that's an important part of our leadership that we have to exercise.
Absolutely. And it's finding those people that allow us to do that, right? Not everybody's going to allow us to do that. 99% of the people are going to look at what we have and be intrigued by it, but they're not going to take the time to learn what we actually have, right? But those people, we're looking for those people that are actually going to take the time, those physicians, those medical device reps, pharmaceutical reps, who are actually going to take 30 minutes or an hour and look at what we have, get on a phone call for 30 minutes, come to the healthcare symposium. Those are the people that we want to be working with. I think I said this a couple of weeks ago. The people, 99% of the people that I contact on LinkedIn, oh yeah, I'm all about new revenue opportunities. But then when you explain it to them and they see that there's actually work involved, then all of a sudden they check out, right? It's like, oh, I've got to work to make more money. Oh, I didn't want that kind of revenue opportunity. I just want the kind that falls in my lap and I get paid for doing nothing. And I talk about it all the time. That's what a lot of medical reps get paid for. They get paid to babysit the business. They don't actually sell anything. They're order takers. Yep. That's all they're doing. They're sitting there in the operating room or they're going to the hospital and taking orders and putting in the orders. And that's what they get paid for. It's not that difficult.
And to Lawrence's point, I think before you can become a great leader, you also have to learn first to become a great follower.
Absolutely. And a great listener.
Yes, that too.
The size of these ears, man.
He got no problems.
That's your African heritage, Lawrence.
I'm in Pennsylvania and Lawrence is in Florida, and sometimes I'm talking about him here, and all of a sudden he gives a calls me because I think he heard me.
He did.
But Martin's point, though, so I always I've always commented on the fact that if we look at, say, a class full of kids doing whatever, gymnastics or even people singing or whatever, and we see 20 people in a class doing an exercise, there always will be one or two that stand out as being above the average, and there'll be two or three that are way below the average. And this is how we are in life too. We've got to find those Medina Spirit. Those are people that stand out, people that even though we don't, and if we don't prejudge, this is the whole point. We look at someone and say, oh, this guy's not going to do it. He owns a hotel. I mean, come on, he's not going to do this. I have a person in my group who invented the creepy crawly machine for the vacuum cleaner for the swimming pool. I mean, the guy's a multimillionaire. Why would he do this? Because he he wanted to have something else to challenge him to do that is something that he can do some more of, and to give back because he's very spiritual and what have you. But I mean, we prejudge and we say, oh, this guy's not going to do it. You don't know that. So look for the Medina Spirit in the people and find it in yourself first. This is the big thing. Find the Medina Spirit in you. Find the Nathan Ricks in you, in me, in ourselves, and then lead by example.
So I'm taking, just for everybody quickly, I'm taking a course right now, an online course about creating your signature speech. And I posted the transcripts for that into the chat if anybody wants it. And it's all about how to create your signature speech. That's something that you can create, that you can do in a 2-minute phone call, in an elevator, and a 30-minute Zoom call. And this just kind of gives you an outline and a couple of worksheets for that. So I wanted to post that in for everybody to make sure that anybody who was interested can have that. I went through and I highlighted a few things. I didn't get through the entire transcript highlighting it yet, but I thought that would be valuable for everybody. Communication is a big part of what we do. And if we can communicate what we have more effectively in less time, more efficiently, I think it's going to make a huge difference in how many people we're converting, or how many of these prospects we're converting. So please pull that down if you want. And
where'd you place it?
I put it in the chat. It's called
chat.
Advance Your Reach. What's it called? Advance Your Reach, Communicating to Convert.
Great, thank
If
you.
you need it, if you can't find it or pull it down from the chat, send me an email and I'll forward it to you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? All right.
All right. Well, thanks very much, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for being on the call. Appreciate your input, everybody. Dan, as usual, great. Thank you so much. Blessings to everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Happy
Thank you,
Mother's
Lawrence.
Day.
Thanks,
Have a
Dan.
great weekend,
By the
everybody.
way, please invite for next week. We've got a really good program as well. We've got a good theme as well. So we'd please like to invite everybody that you can. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Blessings.